So today I have several things to discuss. Basically, these articles I believe are from late February 2025. It's a lot of things to talk about. One thing is going to be about women's rights. Another thing is going to be about immigration, student loans, potential action from Trump and those regarding election process. I'm going to talk about a lot of stuff. So first thing first, this one's important. This is an article from Salem from February 26, 2025. It's talking about how Republican, in general, the Republican parties, Trump and the Republican politicians in Congress are trying to basically add further attack women's right to by basically reducing what women can do in terms of power and authority in government. So, as much as Republican women might think they're safe, they're not. They already going after women for their rights to have an abortion. They've been trying to go after women also in terms of voting rights because a big issue that's been going on. They've been trying to reduce the potential chance of women from voting. Is that if your last name doesn't match, I believe your birth certificate, you will not be able to vote. So they've been trying to pass some type of law regarding that. That's a problem because we already know that most people change their last name once it comes to marriage are women, not men. When I met my wife, I just told my wife to keep her same last name, so she never changed her last name. Her last name is still the same as it is in her birth certificate. I don't believe you need to change your last name as a married couple because it's just not needed. It's one, it's gonna take it's pointless. You already shown you love each other, you need to change names. Two, it becomes a huge hassle once it comes to updating your social security number, making sure that it's not gonna be issues with relate to your birth certificate, and making sure that your driver's license matches your legal new name, and making sure you can still register to vote, show proof of identification if needed. Once it comes to voting, it's a huge hassle. It's not worth it. So that's why my wife and I, we just kept our same names when we marry. You really need to change your last name. Don't do it. Trust me, just keep your last name. You do not need to change your last name. Especially if you're a woman, do not change your last name to your husband's last name. It's coming from someone who is married to my wife. I'm married. I talk about my sometimes we make videos together when she has a chance. Technically, this is a YouTube channel after all. And I don't believe in this change your last name. Don't do it. Not worth it. Especially if you end up divorcing each other. It's gonna be a not pain in the ass to update things. So this article might be about that. I haven't made too many videos about that yet. It's a lot of things. Fortunately, I work full time. Fortunately and unfortunately, so I don't have the time to make videos so consistently, but I try. So I'm gonna just talk about a bit of this article before I go to the next ones. For decades, the anti-abortion movement has aggressively promoted women to visible leadership roles. It's for cynical reasons, namely to bat off entirely accurate accusations that the movement is misogynist. So, arguably speaking, the anti-abortion movement is not good. It's completely against women's rights. I know there's some women who are very religious and they believe they're doing the right thing by being against abortion, but once you get rid of one right, even though it does not impact individually, because someone else having an abortion does not impact their life. Once you take out that one right, it just opened up the bag of worms to tell the government, "Hey, take off, go after more of my rights. Now I can have an abortion. Go after my voting rights." And they keep going to the next level. It's never gonna stop there. So when you talk about transgender women, who cares? I'm not a transgender woman, so I don't care if they don't allow transgender women to play women's sports. The problem when you start opening that bag of worms, it's not just gonna be the other side. Transgender women are women and they have rights, the same rights as women. It doesn't matter if you're biologically a woman. Transgender women are still women. So when you go also after their rights, it's gonna impact other women. People need to stop with the whole hating on the group of people thinking that they won't be impacted. You will be impacted. Your hate is going to unfortunately also cause a negative impact to your life, your children's livelihood, and your future grandkids' livelihood because your rights matter. So keep that in mind, especially if you're a woman. And even more so if you're a woman of color and not a white woman. But I know that people who are going to get hurt the most are always going to be immigrants and people of color and people who are uh, have physical disabilities, a neurodivergent, they're always going to be the most vulnerable. So people of color, women, and people with neurodivergent, physical disabilities, have mental illnesses, they're going to be always a big target, especially by these right wing conservative parties, right? So you got to keep that in mind. You go after one group that's already a disadvantaged individual or a disadvantaged group, they're going to go after every single one. You should work together as one. Do not fight each other. It's very obvious who's the commandment, which is the rich and the wealthy. Do not allow them to take over and remove your rights. And in general, they love the Republican Party or the most right wing party because they have even less regulations when that party is in power. So I'm not being ranting a lot, but that's important to keep always those things in mind. Just reading through it again. You can pause the video and read through more details. So I'm going into some particular details about things, such as how 45% of female voters backed Trump in 2024, which is a huge percentage. Even though Trump is a huge misogynist, sexist, racist, and arguably there's evidence that he's also committed sexual assault. So keep those things in mind that this is not a great person. Trump does not care about you. So that's a huge percentage of women who voted for Trump in 2024. I'm going to keep reading a little bit. House Republicans passed a bill, now stalled in the Senate, this session to require citizens to have a passport or birth certificate matching their name to vote. So, of course, the birth certificate is hard to change, obviously. Passport you can. So do this ahead of time because they're trying to get rid of the USPS. Keep all these things in mind. If you live in a rural area in the US, a lot of times Amazon, UPS, FedEx, etc., would not deliver anything to you, would not do certain services that USPS would do, such as help you apply for your passport, your US passport. So, and they're the only ones that will provide you delivery of packages and other services. So, privatize USPS means that those rural areas are going to be suffering the most. This is why it matters who you vote for in government. Don't vote for Republicans or even more extreme in privatizing everything. USPS and the government as a whole is not about making a profit. It's about providing delivery of public service to citizens and residents in need, regardless if you're making a profit or not. You're supposed to help each other. The government is not business. Treating the government as a business is the reason why we have so many freaking issues. This is why capitalism is great for the rich and the wealthy, but it's horrible for the poor, working class America's people. So, of course, this bill is something that they've been discussing trying to get fully passed in Congress. This would be a backdoor ban on voting for any woman who took her husband's last name and doesn't have a passport. An estimated 69 million women. Again, if you're a US citizen, apply for passport, update your driver's license passport with your current legal last name. Make sure you do those things. I have my resident passport and all those things. It's keep it up to date. So this is extremely important to know. Compare this to how many people for Trump and Republicans into Congress is a problem. Women need to educate themselves who keep voting for Republicans. Most women know it's bad for them, but that's still almost half of women who voted in 2024 basically vote for Trump. That's bad. That's not good for women's right. It's really bad. So the bill is installed in Senate, but you don't know if this is gonna pass. We're gonna have short elections this year and next year, which is gonna be the major election and into more people into Congress. And I hope people actually doing research. I already talked about how important it is to know who you're voting for. Yeah, this is really bad. So I just want to point out some of those important things. As I scroll down, you guys can pause as you see I'm doing a little bit slow. So you guys can read more in detail, but I'm not saying anything else that crucially important right now. So yeah, this is really bad. And yeah, this is another thing. During a GOP town hall at this high school, Teresa called out, "Is this a lecture or a town hall?" Witnesses said the three identified men who were not wearing badges or ID, then physically removed from her seat. They physically removed her from her seat by order of the Idaho County Sheriff. That's gonna be happening a lot, especially towards women. I remember this video before. I'm not sure if I can even click play. If I can watch it really quick. Yeah, this is terrible. They were just pushing her out of there. Gonna scroll further. Yeah, look at this. They're dragging her completely out of there. You have First Amendment rights. This is just yeah, this is wrong in many ways. Yeah, that's not good. But yeah, that's why you gotta be very careful. Uh, allow men to do the civil rights as a woman. It's not good. They're gonna keep removing rights. Keep that in mind. Next article I'm talk about now, Project 2025, which is an update about the whole immigration situation. We know Project 25. It's a long document, talks about many things that Trump's been signing as active orders. That whole, it's all related back to Project 2025. And immigration is a big one. This is from February 24, 2025. It's a big thing that Trump wants to do is to basically arrest and deport as many immigrants as possible. Some people were attacking U.S. citizens, and there's a whole lawsuit to it that, if it hasn't happened yet, probably will eventually occur at some point this year. So the Chinese, so they want to kind of go over details about the whole immigration situation in the U.S. Example like the Chinese Exclusion Act, where they went after a lot of Chinese immigrants, the Immigration Restriction League, and the Immigration Act of 1917. A lot of these acts, were used to basically discriminate against certain groups of immigrants. We know there's certain race, mainly immigrants who are not white. I'm gonna make a video later, separate one about Ukrainians recently. They're also going after Ukrainians that from Ukraine that came to the U.S. In a legal way, but they're trying to get rid of the protective status right now and deport them back to Ukraine. So, like Ukrainians are gonna be. I'm not trying to laugh because it's funny. I was laughing because it's so outrageous what's going on, and the whole Zelensky situation with Trump and JD Vance treating him like crap during the interview. Haven't made a video specific about that either. It's a lot. So I'm gonna make definitely some stuff about that soon, not a day, but it all connects to Project 2025 as well. And most likely, Putin is someone that Trump wants to be really close to, maybe because Russia has nuclear weapons, but Trump loves dictators. He wants to be one. So we gotta keep that in mind as well. So this just talks about that. Some of the previous, in the past, laws that were used and can still potentially be used similar ways today against immigrants. Today, the number of immigrants entering the U.S. is higher than ever, but immigrants as a share of the total U.S. population is similar to that at the turn of the 20th century, around 15%. As you can see in the graph here. You can see the graph here, you guys can pause to look at that in more detail. Trump recently said of the US that we were at our riches from 1870 to 1930, when immigration was historically high. Again, as much as against immigration, we know that immigrants are the reason why the economy tends to always improve. It's important that immigrants are the reason why the US even exists in the first place. And now here's a point from economists generally believe that Richard's period claimed to be untrue, even though it was a period of economic growth. Immigrants can fuel economic growth, especially for nations facing population decline. We can talk about Japan about this, US also. A lot of the white population in the US are declining. So that's why you're seeing a lot of biracial kids being born and more immigrants, Hispanics coming in and um, black people also coming in. Those are not bad things. Those are good things. White people are losing their power. So now they, had Trump and they're trying to do everything they can to get more rich white people to come to the US. But it's the truth. Their population is going down. In some European countries, the population is also going down, just like Japan, South Korea. So it's important to remember that immigration is not a bad thing. It's how you handle the whole immigration process and in terms of how you treat those people and how fair or unfair you make it be to be able to come to your country that matters. So I'm gonna keep reading a little bit. Most Americans think immigration should decrease, yet most Americans believe that undocumented immigrants should have pathways for remaining, but not most Trump supporters. There's a popular support for the Trump administration's current actions, but Democrats say he's doing too much. Sure. Undocumented immigrants should have a pathway for legal residency, permanent residency, and U.S. citizenship. Majority of undocumented immigrants are just hardworking immigrants. Simple as that. I'm not saying the same shouldn't be done for immigrants who just came on tourist visa or H-1B visa, etc. They should also have an easy way to get a green card and U.S. citizenship. So Project 2025, talking about how it was written, is being something that's been worked on by Republicans for decades. It's not something that just happened last year, 2 years ago, or during Trump's first term. It's been happening for a long time. So the magnification of the conservative agenda, good way to describe Project 2025. And let's see if there's any more information. Let's talk about just basic stuff that I already know about immigration. I think this is more of a track. Project 25, yeah, Project 2025 recommendations, action from Trump administration. So this is what Project 2025 recommends, and this is what Trump administration has been doing thus far. Such as trying to fire USAID employees, trying to get rid of the Department of Education. All these things are really big. I'm gonna scroll down so you guys can read more in detail. It's gonna be a longer list, and I'm gonna go in much details here, but you guys can pause and read it. Everything I'm talking about today is gonna be in my description. I'm gonna scroll down a little bit, and let's just keep a track there. Project 2025. Now, this is an article from February 28, 2025, about from USA Today, and it's from about federal workers who receive second round of emails demanding their accomplishments. Musk has been going back and forth with this BS of forcing these federal workers to answer to his email. It's not legally bounding. I know Trump wants him to do this, but this is not legally bounding. They already failed the first time. He's trying again. He said the first time was not really serious. But why do you keep doing this over and over and over? You know, it's obviously. I'm not going to be much detail about this because it's already been discussed before, many times in the news, and it's just BS. If you're a federal government employee, I recommend not answering these emails. Application for some student loan repayment plans frozen. So this is from the Inside Higher Education website from February 26, 2025. If you're someone who has student loan debt like my wife does, and you have a repayment plan, they again, Republicans gonna make it this pretty much impossible for you to keep receiving benefits to be able to pay through those repayment plans. So for people, so experts say turning off application for income-driven repayment options isn't necessary and could harm borrowers. Absolutely, absolutely, this is not a good thing. The Republican agenda is not for the poor, working class, middle class people; it's for the rich. Again, I know Biden wasn't perfect, but he did expand student loan repayment plans and eligibility, how for public servants to be able to have to be able to also be eligible for it. So if you work for the government, he expanded the eligibility for government employees. All these things matter. I'm just gonna scroll down a little bit. So guys, they give a little bit detail about the past and what's been going on with IDR brands. It's a big issue. Not gonna go into much detail about this. They're still being worked through the courts, but they are definitely making this very, very difficult for anyone who wants to apply for those repayment plans with student loan debt. Um, Now, this is from February 15, 2025, also from the Inside Higher Education website. This is an article about education, the Department of Education, the I violate civil rights law. So now, which is complete BS, the Office for Civil Rights declared race-based scholarships, cultural centers, and even graduate ceremonies illegal. So why is the DOE, Department of Education, doing this? It's because this is what, even though it's a civil rights office within the DOE, it's because this is what Trump wants them to do. It's literally that. It's not because they're doing because they just want to screw people over automatically, as always. It's literally because it's what Trump is telling them to do. He's trying to dismantle the entirety of the Department of Education. So this is going to be an issue for a lot of the funding that people get, especially related to DI initiatives. So this is obviously a really big issue in areas where you had Jim Crow segregation for decades, and you know in that way it still impacts, especially in the red rural areas. It's going to be a really big issue. I just want to go over that quickly before I go to the next article. So this one is February 13, 2025. It's from the directly from the White House.gov website, so house.gov. This talks from February 13, 2025. This is basically how now the Republicans are creating an effort to roll back on Biden era CFPB overdraft rule. What does that mean? So basically, there are some Republicans in Arizona, all right? So Tim Scott over here, all this French Hill, all these individuals are trying, basically, these Republicans are trying to introduce a Congressional Review Act, CRA, which will overturn the Biden administration's Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB, final rule, which created a maximum cap of overdraft fees at banks and credit unions. Why get rid of this rule? Is because they want to make sure that corporations can make more of a profit. This is a good rule from Biden era. People who don't know much, who don't do research and just vote wherever way they feel, not logically, don't understand how these things will cause a negative impact. Little things like this that Biden did makes a huge difference, especially for poor, working class, and middle class people. If you live in paycheck to paycheck, these type of rules help you dramatically. You may not think it doesn't, but it really does. So when you get rid of it, it really causes an issue in your pocket. So if you care about the economy, don't vote for Republicans. So that's basically the idea of this whole article. It's really bad news. It's not good for the regular people. So this is an article from Slate.com from February 18, 2025. The Trump administration is going after our elections too. So government prints that long protected the ballot from attacks. The president is preparing to find many of them. So instead of keeping people who keep your ballot safe and keep a more fair election, Trump is trying again get rid of these people, which is completely against any logic. So the acting director of the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency sent a memo to all agency staff notifying them that all election security activities will be paused pending the results of an internal investigation. In other words, Trump is trying to basically have full control as much as he can about how the election process work and putting people that he wants to put there to a potential system in the future with future elections, how he wants them to be run. This is classic, Project 2025 playbook, you can say. So the article goes a bit more in detail about these things. I mentioned Project 2025. So even if CISA nominally continues to offer limited election security support, current staff and deprioritizing its work may mean that the nearly 10K local election officials on the ground feel very little benefit from the group. Again, these things are not good. This doesn't help anything but keep Republicans in power. The less ways you can vote and the harder it is to vote, the more they keep you in power. So that's really it for today. I tried to go over these things as quick as I could. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about everything I spoke, from immigration to women's rights, to the whole election situation, and now you're getting rid of protection from overdrafted banks, etc. And I reply to what I think are decent comments that would worth my time to reply to as well. Uh, and if you like the video, like and subscribe. If you're watching this in TikTok, follow us on TikTok. Same thing, comment there. I reply to whenever I can, and what I think is worthwhile my time to reply to. And everything you saw today is gonna be in under my description. So that's really it. I hope everyone has a good day.